Now, Johannesburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse has laid criminal charges against several ANC and EFF councillors after a council meeting descended into chaos with some claims of assault. A special sitting of the Johannesburg City Council was disrupted by protesters earlier and collapsed. The Cochter MEC has asked the city speaker to report back. Before we speak to the mayor, let's see if we can bring you some scenes from that meeting that were disseminated on social media.
Councillors, I'm asking you to take your seats.
I, Councillor Mpho Phalatse, hereby nominate the name of Councillor to be elected as the chairperson of chairpersons in accordance with Rule 22 of the Standing Rules and Orders of Council.
And then apparently chaos ensued later. Mayor, thank you for being with us. Can you explain how this meeting descended? Reportedly a controversy over the voting of those chair people. You were nominating somebody there, and whether the votes would be secret or not.
Yes, good evening to you, good evening to your viewers, and thanks for having me. As you know, on the 13th of December, I appointed 10 MMCs in the city of Johannesburg. What that would normally follow the process of appointing chairpersons of portfolio committees that would do oversight on the work of these MMCs. Now, we would have liked to have that meeting last year already before we broke for recess, but the whips of the various political parties actually requested that we have it only after recess, and that's why it was only scheduled to happen yesterday. Now, in the interim, there were several meetings of the whippery, which is the multi-party whippery, the chief whip of council, together with the whips of the various parties, to discuss how this meeting would be held and so on. And at no point did any of the parties raise concerns about how the vote was going to happen. In fact, there's precedence in our council where we voted for chairpersons, including the chair of chairs, by a show of hands, and it's never been an issue. Yesterday, we believe that the ANC and the EFF realized that they did not have the numbers to vote in their nominees, and they decided to disrupt the meeting. They decided out of the blue that they want the meeting to be held in a secret ballot. And they knew very well that we were unprepared for that. It would have meant that we postponed the meeting even further delaying the work of council. For you to vote in a secret ballot, you need to bring in the IEC, you need the infrastructure that's needed for a secret ballot vote, which we did not have. It was then suggested or requested by MMC Mabaso of the IFP that we vote on the matter, which I thought was quite prudent, and we did. We didn't have to vote on it because it's actually the prerogative of the Speaker of Council to decide how that vote should happen. But we still voted on it, and it was in that vote that they started being violent, pushing officials around who were trying to count, and the scuffles then started following after that.
And we've heard these claims of assault. Who did you see injuring who?
Well, so we've had reports of various injuries by various councillors. Today, I went to the Hillbrow SAPS with 4 of those councillors. There are others. I believe they'll be going individually to lay their charges as well, as and when they became available. However, we've got footage. You know, fortunately, it was the kind of meeting that attracted media. There were lots of cameras in the chamber, so we've managed to gather all the footage. And some of the councillors also took videos as these assaults were happening. We've spent time reviewing the footage to see exactly who was doing what, and we've submitted that footage to the police.
And what are the charges that you have laid?
We've laid charges of physical assault. The councillors who were injured were with me in the police station today, together with the Speaker of Council as well as the Whip of Council, and they were given J88s, which is the form where a doctor would then have to examine them and make note of what injuries they've got, just for the record and to strengthen the case.
Yeah. All right. Mayor, just to let viewers know, we did contact the EFF and ANC. We were unsuccessful in getting them on tonight, which is a pity. I would have liked to hear from all of you. I do see the EFF is quoted saying the secret ballot was allowed. You say this descended into chaos because of those two parties. Are you sure no DA councillors were involved in assault or anything like that?
No. The DA councillors were only defending themselves. In all the footage, it's quite clear. The DA is a peaceful organization. We stayed on our side of council. If you look at the layout of council, the party that is in government sits to the right side of the speaker and the party in opposition sits to the left. You'll note that they actually came over to our side. They were not meant to be there. They started singing. They started moving through the different aisles, intimidating, pushing councillors and trying to stop us from going on with the work council.
Mayor, assault is unacceptable. I accept that. I'm not saying it's not. But after the shambolic coalition governments that we saw, some experts around the time of the local government elections, analysts, were calling for political maturity from our politicians. My question to you is do you take a lot of responsibility to try and get these different political parties to play nice? Because it's very complicated in Johannesburg. The EFF essentially got you into power, but there's no coalition agreement. Then there were lots of discussions afterwards. But do you take it upon yourself to try and bring people together, which is something political, not legal?
I will never take responsibility for people's criminal behavior. I just want to state that on record. However, I will also say that I have reached out to all the leaders of the various political parties. I've met with the leader of the ANC in Joburg yesterday. In fact, I walked over to him and I said, but what is this? What are you doing? Why are you allowing this? So we had a cordial conversation because we relate well normally. And he was resolute that if they don't get what they want, they're not going to stop. I cannot take responsibility for his behavior, for his lack of leadership, and really encouraging criminality under his watch. I met with the leader of the EFF a few days ago, another cordial meeting. Even yesterday, I walked up to him and I said, I'm disappointed. And so, no, I will not take responsibility for people's criminal behavior. I will continue to do my best to drive cohesion within council. But these are people with an agenda, not to build but to destroy. I don't know why they are doing what they're doing, but I will not take responsibility for their actions. That's why we went ahead and laid charges. I'll continue to reach out to the leadership of the various political parties, but when they don't want to relate in good faith, I cannot be held responsible for that.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Johannesburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse.